You're suggesting for health care that we shouldn't ration legal services, even though the penalty, you could still get off even if you defend yourself. The penalty is maybe some jail time, but you'd still be alive. You're suggesting rationing other services, healthcare, where the penalty is literally death. I want to show you this video to end the show today of just a guy who can't get, foot, mouth. He's going to need to surgically remove his foot from his mouth. Again, going back to the beginning of the show, talking about Mike Bloomberg again, who new rules, not allowed to be a billionaire. You're definitely not allowed to talk in racially coded terms like that. 100%. Not allowed. Their rules. They don't want it. Forget it. So he's out. Totally insensitive buffoon. By the way, he's talking about farmers again. Total joke. But here's Mike Bloomberg in a little small group of voters. And he's talking about, you know what? Let me just play it's about medicine. And here's another Obama, just take the pill and die as quick as you can moment. This is Bloomberg, billionaire, who never has to worry about that. Check this out, and we'll talk about it on the other end.
And what things they can fix right away. If you're bleeding, they'll stop the bleeding. If you need an X-ray, you're going to have to wait. That's just... And all of these costs keep going up. Nobody wants to pay any more money. And at the rate we're going, healthcare is going to bankrupt us. So not only do we have a problem, it's going to bankrupt us. And we've got to sit here and say which things we're going to do and which things we're not. Nobody wants to do that. You show up with prostate cancer, and you're 95 years old, we should say, go and enjoy, have an ice cream, lead a long life. There's no cure, and you can't do anything. If you're a young person, we should do something about it. Society's not willing to do that yet. So we're going to bankrupt us.
Hat tip at cancel_Sam, their Twitter account for that video. Did you get that? So if you're 95 years old, like my grandmother, who lived years after her 95th birthday, by the way, God rest her soul, who I loved very much. If you're 95, Joe, and you have prostate cancer, and you're a man, obviously, and you walk into the hospital, Bloomberg saying, throw them right out. Say, hey, Bloomberg's, not mine, his words, you've lived a good life. Now go die. She's laughing. Did you not just hear that? Now, the you go die part is an addition by me, to be fair. But you've lived a good life, sayonara, you just heard it. Ladies and gentlemen, what he's talking about, do you understand this? He's the moderate, is the forced rationing at the penalty of death, literally, of healthcare. You have scarce resources in an economy. I've said this thousands of times on my show, right? Everything's scarce. Water, food, services, time, a doctor's time. What are the two ways to allocate them? You can ration them like they do in communism, or you can price them like they do in capitalism. And when they do it in communism, they ration them according to their political friends, military folks and the politically connected. Or you can price them in the United States, where you can work and through your own freedom acquire these scarce resources. That's the only two. There's no other way to acquire resources. You can get them through rationing or through pricing. There is no third way. None. You may argue you could steal them, but I would argue that's communism anyway, because they steal them from you. So Bloomberg is talking about the forced rationing of healthcare and suggesting that government should ration it at the penalty of your death simply because you're older. Now, for those of you lunatics who think this is reasonable, can I just give you an analogy here? Because I understand, believe it or not the people in my audience, but I'm encouraging you how to argue with your liberal friends on this. Get away from the healthcare analogy for a minute. Because when it comes to healthcare, Democrats own the argument using emotion. Let's make Bloomberg's argument about another service. Lawyers, legal services, right?
All right.
Forget healthcare for a minute. What if Bloomberg was on tape saying, so you're falsely arrested at 95 for a crime you didn't commit. You know what? You go into the lawyer. We spend too much on legal services in this country. You sit down with the lawyer, and the lawyer should just tell you, listen, you're 95. You've led a good life. Just go to jail. We shouldn't be wasting any of our scarce resources on your law defense, right? You'd be, BS. You know right now, liberals listening, you'd be like, that's horrifying, Dan. How dare you suggest that? It is horrifying. But you're not dead because of it. You're only in jail. Oh, got you now. Got you now, don't we? Liberals panicking everywhere. So you're suggesting for health care. Costs about roughly the same. Lawyers, doctors, I mean, not exact. Legal services can be expensive. You're suggesting for health care that we shouldn't ration legal services, even though the penalty, you could still get off, even if you defend yourself. The penalty is maybe some jail time, but you'd still be alive. You're suggesting rationing other services, healthcare, where the penalty is literally death. Got you on that one, didn't we? I want you to argue with your liberal friends that way. Oh, you want to ration healthcare? What else are we going to ration? Water, food, what's next? No, we can't ration water. Why not? Food is expensive. Society collectively spends a lot on food. Should we ration that too? Hey, you're 95. You don't need food. These farmers are working hard. Why should they feed you? You should just go off and die. You're 95. Food, someone's got to work for that food. What, you mean like the 95-year-old worked their entire lives? You mean like the 95-year-old who stormed the beaches of Normandy to defend your sorry liberal ass so you could still live in freedom? You mean that 95-year-old who worked in smokestacks before they had OSHA, who worked in a coal mine and has black lung? You mean that 95-year-old? Yeah, I mean that 95-year-old. I got news for you, snowflakes. That 95-year-old is 10 times a man or woman you'll ever be. Ever be. Even when you're 95.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.